Hi, this is John Pettigrew, and you're listening to Talking Through My Hat, a podcast about books, bookish businesses, and the fantastic people who create them. I'm a hat wearer, a recovering editor, and the creator of Future Proofs, enabling editors and authors to proofread their books and collaborate effectively online. To find out more, visit wearefutureproofs.com or follow me on Twitter at John_Pettigrew. Hi, and welcome to the first episode of this new podcast. I'm John Pettigrew, your host, and I've been working in publishing for the last 20 odd years. I started in academic journals, I've worked in education, I've freelanced, I've worked in big publishing companies and small publishing companies. I've got a fairly good overview of at least some of the things that have happened in that time. And I also have a set of opinions about things that I think are important to the industry. And the reason I've worked in this industry for so long is that I believe books are important. They are important to me. I've been a reader for my whole life for entertainment, for education, for information, for all sorts of things. And my experience of working on books, especially in education, has been very important to me as well, particularly working in education. But working on any kind of book, one of the joys for me of being an editor is that I know that the product I'm working on, the book that's going to come out at the end of it, is worthwhile. It's going to matter to the person who reads it. And my effort in making that good, or making it as good as I can make it, working with the authors and with production staff and everyone else who's involved, means that I'm doing something real for that person who's going to read it. And particularly for education, where that consequence is that they're going to get better results in their exams, which can open doors for them into careers and help them to move on and do things with their life that they want to. That really matters to me. And working in publishing in the last 20 years, I've seen a lot of change. Offices closing, moving, changes in workflow. I was trained originally to edit on paper with many colours of pens and galley proofs and all sorts of stuff that now has been consigned to history because computers have come in and changed a lot of what we do. But the reason we do things are the same. So the interesting thing, it always seems to me, behind all this discussion of disruption and innovation and entrepreneurship is really about understanding what we're trying to do and how we can get there more easily, more effectively, more cheaply sometimes. And we can sometimes get a bit wrapped up in disruption and what that might do to our business. But really, it's not about that. It's about what we can do for our customers, for our readers, for our authors, for everybody who's around that. And disruption is kind of a trendy word for change, and it's inevitable. We just need to keep an eye on it and not to shut it off and not to go running around seeking it. It's to try and intentionally change, to know what we want to do, or to know where we want to be, and to find better ways of getting there together. I spend a lot of time now in the startup world, working with tech companies and other startups and so on. And this is something that is often misunderstood broadly in tech. They tend to get very taken up with their shiny toys. Here's our new thing, and be excited about this. I've made this shiny thing. You should love this. And you can look at it and you go, yeah, well, it's very shiny, but it's not actually useful. It's not going to help me in my job or my life. So I'm not going to care about that. And this is why tech companies have generally failed to revolutionize publishing. What we need to do is to understand a customer problem. Tech companies working with publishing companies can achieve real things, and that's what I find really useful. Or indeed, publishers working with people who understand the technology. The crucial thing behind that is that content is important, words are important, pictures are important. The things that make up books are important. And what makes them important is the education, the information, the entertainment, the culture that they help to spread, that they help people to share in. And for that to work properly, you have to have decent quality content. You have to have something that someone is going to read. They're going to dedicate hours to it, days to it even. And they want to know that the information is correct. There are paths through it. They're going to help them to get the qualifications they need. That this novel is going to entertain them and edify them and uplift them, or whatever it is that's looking for. That it's going to do the job that it said it would on the cover. And this is where editors are vitally important. Lots of people are involved in making a good book. My perspective is always coming to it as an editor. And the editor is the role where we are taking what has been written, when it's often even commissioning something to be written, taking what has been written, making it better, making it clearer, making it flow more, make it more accessible, make it do the job that it needs to do. And one of the joys of this is working with authors. If you do your job well as an editor, the only person who ever really notices is the author. Your readers don't notice your work because they're too wrapped up in the content just flowing through them. The author hopefully notices and is grateful, and you can get a really good partnership. And that's another great thing about being an editor. So the publishing business is important to our culture, important to our economy, it's important to our education system, it's important to our entertainment industry, it's important generally. And if we believe that as people working in this industry, then we know that our jobs are important, our roles are important. And that, I think, is really a good thing, that we know we're contributing. But if we think that the industry is important, the product is important, and that our roles are important, what are we going to do about that? How are we going to do it better? And that's the sort of thing I want to explore a bit in this podcast, is to look at ourselves, to look at my experiences and experiences that some of you guys will hopefully share, and to think, okay, how does that help? How can we do that better? How can we move forward? And also to talk to some people who are running publishing bookish businesses, to look at the challenges they've encountered, the problems they've set out to solve, and the barriers they've encountered to achieving that, and the joys they've got out of it at the end. That is what I'm hoping to do in this podcast. This first episode is a little short snippet, an overview of that. Next week, for our first proper episode, is the London Book Fair coming up early in April, and the podcast next week is going to be about preparing for the London Book Fair. What do you get out of it? How do you make sure you do that? Particularly, perhaps, for people who haven't been before or haven't been very often. I've been a fair few times now, and hopefully I'll be able to help you get some more out of it. For now, I'll say goodbye and speak to you next time. Goodbye. This was Talking Through My Hat, a podcast by John Pettigrew, CEO and founder of We Are Future-Proofs. Please let me know your thoughts by leaving a review at Apple Podcasts or by commenting on our website, myhat.wearefutureproofs.com. You can subscribe to this channel wherever you get your podcasts. Our theme music is from hooksounds.com.